And this is Fox 10 Talks. Good morning, everybody. The big talk today is the crazy weather that we have been experiencing in Arizona. When you see a site like this, look, it's not a tornado. It just looks like one, but it's a funnel cloud, and it was very clearly defined. And as you can imagine, it caused some concern, particularly over one city north of the valley. And this was just yesterday, late in the afternoon into the evening hours. We're going to tell you more about where that was happening. We're also going to be talking about what is going on with and look at that right there. We're also going to be talking about what is going on with some of the craziest weather we have ever seen in early June in Arizona. I mean, look at that upper left shot right there. It was pouring rain in many different parts of the valley. We're going to be talking about that as well. Also, we have plenty of headlines to get to this morning, including the president. The steel tariffs are going into effect. In fact, they've already gone into effect over the last few hours. We're going to see whether or not that's going to have any kind of an impact on the market. In fact, I'm going to check on that right now. So far, it doesn't look like. But there may be some other things that are moving the market. We'll talk a little bit about that. We're also, speaking of steel, apparently some Steeler fans are upset that President Trump got a gift in the form of a jersey when he went to Pittsburgh the other day, to the point where the Steelers felt like they had to issue not an apology, but a clarification. Oh, we'll tell you what that whole drama is about. And speaking of drama, are we finally going to get there? By the way, that was Syleste you heard. Good morning, Syleste. Good morning. Are we finally going to get some lack of drama today when it comes to the Lori Daybell trial? Maybe. We got Justin in the courtroom. We got George Obie standing by in just the next couple of minutes. All of that. Plus, our poll question is heating up. Boy, are we getting a lot of action on this one. Should the Boulder attacker's entire family be deported? 5% say, no, don't punish them for his actions. Another 5% say maybe, but only if there's proof they knew about his plan. 63% are saying yes, do it, but only if they're here illegally, and there are some indications that might be the case. They were apparently taken into custody last night, and then it's been radio silence ever since. But you can grab that QR code and let us know what you think about this as well. By the way, your other option, and we have over 20% on that one, is, the whole family should be made to pay the price. It just might prevent future terrorism. So we would love to get your opinion on that, but we do welcome Syleste.
Hi, Ron.
Nice and
Hello,
early.
Everyone.
To our streaming show today,
yes.
Syleste.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
I mean, I woke up this morning and I start my drive out there in East Mesa, and I'm like, did my sprinklers go off in the middle of the night?
Oh, yeah.
But the closer I drove into Phoenix, the more I realized it's really raining again.
Yeah.
Now, the first one 2 days ago didn't catch us by surprise. This one a little bit more did.
I think you're right.
But I think you brought your computer with you.
I did. I brought the computer so I could chat with everyone in the chat box. Good morning to everyone.
So let's see. I'm trying to think.
This is on the traffic computer, by the way. So it's on traffic computer.
Okay.
And
so let me plug in.
There we go. That's it.
A lot of smart.
Yeah,
Great. Take it away. Take it away.
So, Ron, you mentioned we got some rain here in the valley. You can see it's pretty much cleared up for the most part. We have had a beautiful morning. It's quite muggy out there, though, and I'm sure if you've already opened the door or, took the dog for a walk, and maybe if you still, subscribe to the newspaper, you picked it up, and you're thinking if it's wrapped in plastic or it's all wet, you're like, what happened? What city am I living in? Yeah, you are not in Seattle. You are in Phoenix, Arizona. So here is a closer look at the system moving through, and you can see through the high country and those higher elevations. That's where the storm activity is really moving. And go ahead, Ron.
Well, I just want to ask one quick question, because I see those arrows are coming straight down out of Flagstaff, right over Prescott Valley. And I just wanted to ask you, because the pictures, I think,
I'm glad you brought this up.
A lot of people talking. That funnel cloud was pretty ominous looking. Should we be shocked when we see something like that?
I think it's crazy.
It
Absolutely.
is wild,
like
right?
Rick Anderson. I wonder, is this on an iPhone that he shot this? He did an amazing job. I wonder what was going through his mind as he's taking this video.
Yeah.
Honey,
Rick
grab my phone, honey.
He thought, I didn't start the day wanting to be a storm chaser.
I mean,
but here it comes.
Is he going to grab now, like build one of those storm chaser cars? Like this is like, very unusual for Arizona.
Okay, now Rick's dealing with that, and so are the thousands of people who live up in that Prescott and Prescott Valley area. But, from the lower right hand with all the lightning strikes and the crazy weather that was going on there, and then on top of it, we have that. I mean, I just thought that was really great. But we bounced around and we showed you just how crazy. Look at this. We're driving around when our morning show started this morning at 4:30, and it was like almost everywhere we went, Celeste, it was raining and raining hard.
It was. And the winds were moving through, and of course the lightning and the thunder. And, one thing, I believe the thunder, I slept right through it.
Let's go back to your computer. Okay. I'm not quite sure which button to push, but I know somebody that does.
There's a lot of smart people behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Ron.
there are. So 8 of them over in that control room right now.
And 9 if you can't count George Obie, who's going to join us in a second. So, of course, you had those wild winds that are kind of coming through, and there's a closer look at that. Let's zoom in a little bit, and we're going to show you where the Prescott area, kind of like the Verde Valley, Paulden, Camp Verde, Sedona, Spring Valley, and you see right just southeast of Prescott that really strong storm system that is moving north, probably through Prescott Valley.
That is
any
Prescott
moment.
Valley.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And so if you're in Prescott Valley this morning, we would love to hear from you in the chat box, or maybe even share your pictures or video with us, because this storm system is moving. This one today is going to be primarily through our higher elevation. So let me zoom over and show you some of those strong storm systems that are moving through. Take a look at Holbrook, all along that I-40 corridor, east of Flagstaff, through Winslow, Arizona, through Holbrook, and then some very strong storm activity with lots of lightning. This is south of the I-40, east of Holbrook, as you're getting closer up there on the Navajo Nation, and then eventually closer to like the Hopi Reservation that's right located inside the middle there of Navajo Nation. So if you're driving from Flagstaff on the I-40, or maybe you're down through Springerville or any of those beautiful smaller locations there, maybe St. John's, you're going to get a lot of rain and maybe some strong thunderstorms moving through that area. The wind, of course, is going to move these storm systems to the north or the east, and then eventually maybe off to the west. But for the most part, there's a closer look at some of the storm activity. Look at St. John's. Probably the storm system barely missed you. You may have gotten a little bit of that storm activity to the east of you. But wow, what a storm system, and kind of a pleasant sight, Ron, when you think about it, because usually this time of year, I think our record was 113 yesterday, and 19 years ago on my wedding day yesterday, it was 112. That was a record.
Is that right? Is that why you didn't invite me? You were concerned I might become heat overcome to the...
Ron, I wish I would have known you. That would have been a fun time.
Celeste, congrats on your wedding anniversary.
Thank you, my friend.
Hey, we have a major story just coming in the world of sports. This is a name you're going to hear now literally thousands of times in the coming years. The Phoenix Suns have just hired their brand new head coach, and his name is Jordan Ott. He has been an assistant coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he's just been named the head coach. I love Wikipedia. I just went to Wiki, and they're already saying he's the head coach of the Phoenix Suns of the National Basketball Association. Graduated from Penn State, got sports management masters at Michigan State, so... Hey, he's a Nittany Lion. At the same time, he's a Spartan. People are going to love that. Congrats to him. And now we're going to shift to our coverage of the Lori Daybell trial. But by the way, George Obie, I'm opening your mic, George, is probably, if you want to have sports talk with anybody in the newsroom, go see George. What do you think about this hiring of Jordan Ott? Does that surprise you?
No, and we heard this morning that Devin Booker was heavily involved in this search and pretty much put his stamp of approval on Ott. So that's a good sign. If you're a Suns fan, you're looking at longevity, keeping Booker and that kind of core around. Yeah. That's a good sign that Booker's all in.
Man, they got to get that chemistry worked out.
So the two big topics you're an expert on: Suns, and Vallow.
That's about it.
Daybell.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Unless until football season starts.
That's true.
correct.
He's got another.
That's
but
right.
let's talk a little bit about what's been going on so far in the case, George, and what do we know so far today? It's 10 after 10 as we're doing this as a live stream. What do you know?
So just got underway about 10 minutes ago. The judge had ordered, as we've learned last week, Lori was sick. She was sick throughout the weekend, did not want to show up to court Monday morning because she was sick, but the judge ordered her to come in and said, look, if you are sick, then MTSO jail staff, they have to get a doctor. They have to come in, diagnose you, figure out what's wrong. And then you have to basically say, look, this is what I have, whether it's COVID, the flu, and this is why I can't come in. Mm-hmm. So she was ordered to come to court this morning. She's in the courtroom now. They are going over this to try and decide, how sick is she? Can she continue with essentially jury selection? That's where we're at in this case. And they are trying to seat 12 jurors and 4 alternates so they can begin opening arguments. And again, we're still they're hashing that out this morning. So Justin Lum is in the court. We should know probably within the next 10, 15 minutes where we stand on that. And if the judge decides we should proceed, then jury selection will begin. They had about 60 or so jurors that were ready to come in and answer questions and figure out, can they seat the 12 by this week and get this trial underway.
By the way, and I'm sorry we only have about a minute till we got to hit the break. I don't think I've asked you this before, but what were the circumstances surrounding the shot or the multiple shots, you tell us, that were aimed at Brandon Boudreaux? Because of everybody in all of these cases, I've been looking forward to his upcoming testimony soon in this case, maybe compared to just about everybody else. What were the specific details about the attempt to try to kill him?
Well, the crux of it was Brandon was involved in a custody case with his wife at the time. That was Lori's niece. Yeah. And so the motive appears to be, at least the prosecution will argue, that Lori wanted to get involved, help her niece out. They considered Brandon, quote unquote, dark spirit.
But I guess what I'm wondering, because we only have 30 seconds left, is how close did where the bullet itself? How far away was Alex Cox, and how far did they miss? Do we know those kind of details?
I think you're looking at about 100 yards, but we do know Alex was hiding in the Jeep, or at least according to the prosecution, that he was in the Jeep. The neighbors noticed the Jeep just down the street, and the shots were fired and hit his Tesla windows. So he wasn't too far from it, far enough to wait to where again that they had he had a clear shot.
Okay. George, thanks. Your wealth of information. We're going to be back in 2 minutes. I will just tell you, the thing that amazes me are Dean Fazzini on the mystery cam. I feel like almost every day he's got another angle from another city that I don't recall seeing before. And I like this pleasant little town here, Celeste. No massive high-rises, no big traffic jams. In fact, they got a bridge over the river that nobody's on. So I'm just trying to figure out.
When you have like those piers off to the left, do you see that?
Yes.
They're like
little docks,
little
kind
docks.
of. Yeah,
like docks.
Okay, so very flat.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like it's the Mississippi River. I don't think.
What are some states? Well, I was thinking Mississippi initially, but what are some of this? It's very, I don't know, along the Mississippi. Is it? I guess Georgia.
No.
Louisiana.
This is good.
By the way, Ron, I got Wordle in 2 today.
Oh my gosh. I've been seeing a lot of chatter about it. I haven't had time to look at it yet, but that was the common theme. You know, family members who got it in 3 and they're like, should have had it in 2. Way to go, Celeste.
The winner today is actually my first word I use in every Wordle.
Oh, well, then why didn't you get it in 1?
I'm trying to beef myself up because I clearly don't know where this mystery cam is. So we've got Mississippi from Louis Gonzalez.
Okay.
We have Oklahoma from Lil Philosophy.
Yeah.
Rhode Island, Angela Brockelman.
Okay.
But a couple of Mississippis, Keisha Jones and Mr. Paul Valine. I'm going to go with all of you with Mississippi.
Okay. I'm going to go somewhere else kind of in the Midwest, and I think it's just so flat. I think I'm going to go somewhere in Iowa.
Okay.
Thinking maybe it's the Missouri River instead, but here we come, everybody.
We've got Husky Mom and Troy S. with Louisiana and Sherry Nevada Pup with Wisconsin.
Okay.
We have Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Oh, so who had Wisconsin?
Sherry Nevada Pup.
Really?
Nice work.
Okay, so
well done.
That's Oshkosh.
Oshkosh bagosh.
And I wonder, everything's made in China now, but are the Oshkosh bagosh jeans? Do they,
or the overalls,
or the jumpers, all of that kind of a thing? Are they made right there in Wisconsin, or are they coming out of China like everything else?
Maybe we need to call Oshkosh and ask them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
everybody, we welcome you back. There's a big story this morning. It actually started unfolding late in the day yesterday, and it's the latest angle coming out of this horrific story in Boulder, Colorado. And I almost feel like as each day goes by, people are getting more and more angered by what actually happened in that beautiful college community this past weekend.
Yeah.
So the story, as you are no doubt familiar, here's the suspect who's been arrested. They're going to pursue terrorist charges against him. But it is almost unbelievable that we have Jewish people being set on fire in an American city in this day and age.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just mortifying. And while he's in custody, then the word came down last night that they have taken his wife and their 5 children into custody as well. Originally, I believe they were saying that it was to investigate whether or not they had any knowledge or were assisting in any way with his plot. He did say that he waited to do it until his daughter could graduate, who apparently was like one of the top students in her school.
Okay.
And yet she may be finding herself in some other country here in literally a matter of days. It's an open question here on Wednesday morning where they are right now. And that will be our poll question coming up in just the next couple of minutes. But the suspect in this case is Mohammed Soleiman, and he admits he planned that attack for over a year. So stand by. We told you what the poll question was.
I have a couple of comments on this, Ron, if you'd like me to read a couple of them.
Of course, yeah.
We have Barb S. Jones, 2372, says, follow the law. Jazz Ziegel, 8983, says, yes, access to the United States is not a human right. And then Mark Coppola, 8146, says, are they illegals? If so, yes, if citizens, if they didn't know of his plans, they can stay here in the United States.
All right. Let me update you right now. As a matter of fact, grab that QR code because these numbers really are moving around. 4% now saying don't punish them for his action. Another 4% only deport him if there's absolute proof they knew what he was up to. Now 69% say yes, they must leave, but only if they're here illegally. And then 23% say make family members pay the price too. That just might prevent future terror attacks in our country. Those are your options. And in about 2 minutes, we'll check in with Dave on the Dave Cam for all of your feedback. Generally, he goes to YouTube. And so let me just see. I think I'll pull up that YouTube question.
That's where I pulled some of those comments, Ron.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Because I think it was, we had there are a lot of comments on this one.
Yeah. Okay. And so you see, oh, goodness sakes. Okay. So we only launched this, I think, at about 9 this morning. And on YouTube, we have over 300 votes. You can see the numbers are a little different here. It's 47% say, they need to be deported.
If we refresh that, I don't know who has access to that camera. My computer says we have 615 votes.
Holy cow.
So
Can you refresh here, Dave? Are you able to?
I don't know.
Okay. Dave is the best.
He is the best. Big D.
Dave, who, by the way, is 3 minutes away from the Dave Cam, is going to get up out of his booth,
run
and go
down
all the way to the newsroom. Oh, I wish we had a camera in the atrium.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
And then we get a shot of somebody making the run,
Right.
down to the newsroom.
Yeah. Dave, check your step counter for today. You're getting a little extra on the steps in. But a couple of other interesting stories. We are already in the new tariff mode. The president was in Pittsburgh over the weekend, and he said, we're going to take the tariffs of 25%, which have been in effect for quite a while. We're going to bump them up to 50% just to make sure that, I don't know how long it's been that, for example, cans, like for canned food items, how long we as a nation became reliant on China and other countries for some of the most basic items we have in our country.
Yeah.
But that's what's going on. And he says, so we're going to raise those tariffs. And I'm telling you, Celeste, I watched our coverage of that on Live Now from Fox. The crowd went wild.
Yeah.
They love the idea that he's trying to generate new jobs, manufacturing, heavy industry jobs in the United States.
Well, and I think when you think about, let's take, for example, like canned goods, canned foods, those are non-perishables. So it's not like you're producing a good that's going to expire. Or you're going to have to go, throw out. I mean, eventually, after a couple of years, maybe. But it's a great business model when you think about it, creating jobs for people who don't have them or who need a job or are looking for a change.
Yeah.
Helping American families put food on the table.
Well, the other story then that's coming out of his visit, have you seen this? Now, some people might say this is a tempest in a teapot. Other people might say, I'm outraged that they tried this. But Rocky Bleier right there is holding up. Now, he's a long, long ago Steeler. You can see with all this gray hair. I think he goes back to the 70s, when the Steelers were unbeatable. But he gave the president a jersey that says Trump 47. Now, the exchanging of jerseys happens all the time.
Yes.
I mean, almost every time a team comes to the White House, it's just that this time he came to Pittsburgh. And then you did have some other guys who are
the other two guys
currently on the team. Let me look and see. Mason Rudolph, Miles Killebrew, they were there supporting the president. But apparently enough people, because this is the way things are nowadays, were so upset. I'm sure they're not fans of the president, but they are very upset that there was a jersey with his name on it that was gifted to him. And so they went online and they complained, and the Steelers actually had to come out with a statement saying, we didn't authorize it. This was, and it doesn't necessarily reflect our views, whatever.
Come on.
I know.
They totally folded.
Yeah,
they gave in.
There you go.
Brother.
So anyway, that's kind of what's happening right now. And I think Celeste, Dave just did do the big reveal here, or the
big
update
D
on the
with
poll.
the big reveal.
D. So here we go. Wow, people are passionate about this. 600 plus votes. Almost 50% say, yep, deport them, but only if they're here illegally. And you see the other options as well. Well, that's the one in both of these polls. So I think that what we can do now, Celeste, is, well, actually, this will be like a stress test for Big D. Because he hustled, I don't know, what is that, like 500 steps to get from here to the newsroom and back?
Yeah, but
on a round trip?
He's calm under pressure, though. Look at that face.
Yeah, look at that. Does this look like a guy who's stressed? No.
Never.
Yeah, this is doing this show is better than a stress test at the doctor's office. All right, Dave, let's go to the Dave Cam. He sorts through all of not just your votes, but some of the comments we're seeing. And what are you seeing so far?
Yeah, so we've got about 20 comments already. Diane Brown from Scottsdale says he has been planning this for over a year, and you're going to tell me that his wife didn't know anything about it. I don't believe it. They should have been thrown out long ago when their visa ran out. Mark Kropla 8146 said, are they illegals? If so, yes. If citizens, no. Only if they didn't know any of his plans. So a lot of good comments. Keep being engaged. Keep commenting, and we'll keep having the conversation.
Okay, there he is, everybody. Big D on the Big D Cam. We really love Dave's feedback
People
on the show.
People liked that in the chat box.
For goodness
Big D
sakes.
with the big reveal.
Making a big difference. By the way, Isabella fan, she's coming up later in this hour here on Fox 10 Talks. Now, it's interesting. Celeste, I wanted to pop up and just see what's going on in the market right now here on FTT. And so at 10:26 in the morning, it did dip all the way down into the red, but it is back into the green, only by about 41 points or so. Some people might think, hey, it's been such a run. I mean, the Dow's added like 2,500 points since it had its huge drop back in April. But there is another story going on that I think might also be moving the market. So yeah, the steel tariffs, something to watch out for. Almost made that the poll question today, but I just thought, I bet people have a really strong opinion on the deportation of this family. So anyway, the other big story is that when the private job sector number came out, it was way low. Much lower than what the experts were thinking. Only 37,000 new jobs created. I mean, you want to see 150 or 200,000 jobs created. And so that number was soft. But in a weird way, the bad news is the good news with the market because, there are a lot of people hoping that the Fed will finally lower interest rates, and little bit of this type of news might help that.
Yeah, you always wonder if whether or not those jobs like Uber and Lyft and the like contracted workers, are those numbers included in that number?
Yes, yeah. And everything but government jobs.
Yeah, is included.
And that one comes out, by the way, on Friday.
On Friday, which everybody's waiting for.
Yes,
it'll
be a big one.
The feds are waiting for that one.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, time to take a break. Boy, this show's moving along fast today, isn't it, Celeste?
Absolutely.
Back in 2 minutes. Sometimes I still punch the wrong buttons, Celeste. I didn't mean to pop my mug up because we want to talk a little bit more. By the way, did anybody tell us? I'm guessing that this is Charleston, South Carolina. But I don't know if anybody wants to tell me.
Charleston, South Carolina.
That's my guess.
Can
I'm
we
checking.
get a thumbs up from Big D?
Well,
Let's see what Big
you know
Dave
what?
says.
He has communication with just about it. Oh, brother.
Corpus Christi.
So far off. Yeah.
The home of Selena.
Oh, how nice.
Selena.
I have not been to that part of Texas yet, and I can't wait to go.
I can't wait for you to visit and for you to say, I've been, get a T-shirt. I've been to Corpus Christi.
Just like the T-shirt that says, I've been to North Dakota, my
right.
50th state. Celeste, people are giving props to Sherry Nevada Pup. Why?
This is a big chatter in the chat box because she continues to get the mystery cam correct. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like we need to come up with a prize.
Oh.
You know, or bragging rights, or maybe we can put her name behind us in lights.
Right. In lights. I
maybe
like that.
like something, you know, or like a board with like all the big winners. You know, big winners of the mystery cam.
Sure.
Something like that.
Celeste.
Yeah.
Like a leaderboard at a golf tournament kind of a thing.
Thank you. Where's the leaderboard? The FTT leaderboard.
Let me just tell you this. Where people are wondering is the common sense when it comes to criminal activity in this country. Because if you haven't heard this one yet, I think it's going to blow your mind. There is a business owner stepping forward to say, look, we just have a kind of a mom and pop business that we run in Scottsdale.
Yes.
Scottsdale Road and Indian Bend.
Okay.
And it's an eyewear business. And the other day, they got pepper sprayed when a couple of thugs came in and were trying to rob the place. So they pepper sprayed all three people who were working in this location. And here is a little bit more about what was getting said about that.
It started in California and now it's spreading to Arizona, where people are going during the day and just shoplifting as much as they can from all the luxury opticals in town. And they're obviously going to sell them online, but they go in during the day when everybody's open and just grab as much as they can and take off running. I just hope there's something done about this, because it's sad to see most of the luxury stores in town are small businesses. We're not big corporations with big pockets. We're passionate about what we do, and it sucks when somebody takes advantage of what we have to offer.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. By the way, there is a big difference between California and Arizona. You guys want to come over here and commit your crimes? They take even small amounts of theft very seriously. Plus, I would think that's aggravated assault. If you're
absolutely.
pepper spraying somebody in the face, it's ridiculous.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy when this type of a situation happens. I mean, you come in and pepper spray and it's like, what's the recourse?
Correct.
Yeah.
I
mean, can't see anything sprayed with that stuff.
Hey, on the good news side of the business world, we have a bunch of companies to salute today who are all on the brand new Fortune 500 list.
Okay.
Freeport McMoran. I know you think you want to say it Freeport McMoran, but it's McMoran.
What do they make?
They're the biggest I believe they're the biggest copper mining company on the planet.
So they must be down in, where do we still mine it? Bisbee? Freeport McMoran.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they have a big, they have a big building in Scottsdale.
Yes.
I've seen it.
Oh,
or where is
and
it?
they have one of the biggest high rises in downtown Phoenix.
Yes,
it has
they
the
do.
big Freeport McMoran on it there. That's that building that's so odd because half of it is office space and the other half is a Westin hotel.
Oh, that's right.
Right downtown. Yeah. Oh. Okay, they're in Claypool up there in the Globe, Miami. Greater Globe, Claypool, Miami area. I love all three of those towns.
It's the Tri-Cities of Arizona.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, so they topped the list, Celeste, but also on that list, Republic Services, Carvana, Insight Enterprises, Taylor Morrison Homes. They sell thousands of homes around the country. A lot of people didn't realize they're headquartered right here.
Yep.
They build very high quality homes. Sprouts Farmers Market. I feel like we don't talk about them enough.
Well, they're based here.
Yeah, they started
Sprouts
here.
Started here.
Correct.
And I think they've grown so much.
Yeah.
And maybe people feel a little disconnected. Are you going to look at how many locations they have?
No.
Okay.
But I am going to ask. Hang on here. I'm going to say.
They have a great deli, by the way.
Where was the very
first?
Great. Hold on. I'm trying to ask one of these AI models, and now it's asking me about where's the great deli. Celeste, hang on.
They have a great deli with a great deal. I think it's like $5.99 for a Sammy and.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Hi Siri, where was the very first Sprouts Farmers Market in Arizona?
Okay, well, let's find out.
Chandler.
Is that right? Does it say the cross streets?
At 2002, no, it doesn't say. Let me see. Let me click on this.
Yeah.
It says Chandler.
I used to go to a Sprouts in Mesa, like, I swear it was 15 years ago at Gilbert and Brown.
They're nice.
And back in those days, they had kind of little stores. Now they're building these big new ones. They're building a new one, I've heard, out at Ellsworth and Ray Road in that booming East Mesa area.
Yeah, that's by you.
And so I just feel like it's such a success story. I know they're not a mega corporation out there like some of them are, but Sprouts, it's a Valley success story.
So we have Isabella, of course, you'll see her in a few moments. She said, I love Sprouts, very healthy. The $5 sandwich deli bar got me through college. And you're absolutely right. It gets me through motherhood. I give my, I have to pay, kids are expensive. Darren Lloyd said, I used to work at Sprouts on Ray Road. Mr. Pavline says, them sandwiches and Sprouts are delish and simple.
All right.
So true.
Hey, we would love to get your impact or your input. I'm just going to mention it now because we're going to be talking about it in about 3 minutes. If there was only one fast food restaurant out there and one item that you could have and all the rest went away or whatever, what would be your one absolute must-have? I don't know if Celeste has an answer yet.
I do.
Okay, and I do too, but we would love in the chat box for you to tell us what's your must-have, your always go-to at a drive-through somewhere.
Like if there was
here in the
only
Valley.
one drive-through left.
Correct. And
on
we
the
all
earth.
had to...
We're talking apocalypse times.
Sure. And it's over there at like 32nd Street and Thomas. Good luck. The line's going to be long, but what is the one item you got to have? First, though, here's Fox's Doug Luzader on the big battle over the big, beautiful bill. Take it away, Doug.
Good morning. This is going to make it even more difficult to get that massive tax cut and spending bill through Congress, and it may further drive a wedge between the president and Elon Musk.
Well, I expect to continue to provide advice whenever the president would like advice.
I hope so.
Just last week in the Oval Office, President Trump said he welcomed Elon Musk's continuing advice. Now, perhaps not so much. Posting on X, Musk just slammed Trump's big, beautiful bill. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore, he wrote. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination.
I agree with Elon Musk.
Democrats in Congress were thrilled, happy to hammer the wedge between Musk and Trump over the big tax cut and spending bill making its way through Congress. In reality, Musk wants less government spending, and Democrats generally want more, but Musk's criticism resonates with fiscal conservatives who worry about piling on to the national debt.
They're planning on spending $5 trillion they don't have, and I'm just not for that.
And the White House says Musk's opposition won't stop the president.
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
And from Musk, perhaps a warning to Republicans in the House who have already pushed through the bill. Shame on those who voted for it, he wrote. You know you did wrong. You know it.
All right, so that's the development there. And we're just going to continue to follow that. It's going to take a month before we get a final answer. But in the fast food world, the big talk this morning is that McDonald's, where do I have my McDonald's? Right here. They're unveiling the snack wrap for the first time in 10 years. They're bringing it back. It's to highlight their new Chicken McCrispy, which will be embedded inside. And so it got us all talking this morning about our favorite fast food locations. Celeste.
Yes.
We're going to go to Isabella in about a minute, but if there was only one drive-through left at 32nd Street and Thomas, Unless, do you want it closer to your house? Would that be more convenient for you?
It would be convenient, yeah, if it was at like Central and McDowell.
Okay. What would it be? What's your one item at one drive-through?
One item at one drive-through would be the double at In-N-Out.
Wow.
Yeah, the double. Extra protein.
I was going to say the exact
Were you really?
same thing. Well, first of all, it's about $5.50,
yes,
which is a reasonable price for 2 patties and 2 patties of cheese and everything else. You can get it bunless.
Yes.
Right?
You can't.
Are you more bunless or yes?
I usually go bunless,
buns.
protein
Okay.
style.
All right.
I do no special spread sub mustard.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to eat a little bit better.
Is that a better way to go?
I think so, because the spread's got like mayo and all kinds of stuff. Although it's delish.
Yeah,
I love it.
Okay.
Let me read what a couple people are saying in here.
Please.
We have a few of you who are loving on the Jack in the Box tacos, which I love. So good. They used to be 2 for $1.
Yeah.
We have El Pollo Loco, Mr. Pauline. El Pollo Loco says not bad either, which is so good. Have you ever been there, Ron?
Yes.
El
Oh, yeah.
Pollo,
Sure.
so delicious.
Love them. They have an incredible salad.
Oh,
highly
do they?
recommend
The chicken
their
is
chicken
so
salad.
good.
Yeah.
Sherry Nevada Pup, we have an El Pollo Loco opening here in Kingman in about a month, she says.
Oh, nice. You'll love it.
Wendy's also is one of the mentions on here. Mexican pizza at Taco Bell, Mr. Paul Valine. Grilled chicken sandwich at Culver's, says Linda Monterth. Adele Taco, says Mr. Paul Valine as well. Oh, Sammy G, she says, I just got the double protein style 2 days ago. Was so good.
Love it. And
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the Isabella cam now. And I don't know what popped into your head on this topic, Isabella. What do you think?
Well, I also did think of In-N-Out, but since you guys both said it, I'll think of another one. The 99-cent tacos from Jack in the Box.
Yes.
If, circumstances were different, they're only 99 cents. I think I could live off of that.
Yeah, they're really good.
really
Do you do hot sauce or no hot sauce?
I do like the hot sauce, yes.
Yes, so delicious.
Now, in your incredible family growing up, did you guys have a kind of a drive-through in your area that you always hit up? Was it Mickey D's or something else?
It was Taco Time.
Oh, yeah.
That's
The bean and
right.
cheese burrito from Taco Time is my most favorite item ever, but I didn't say that since it's not local to here. But top is Taco Time for sure.
So they have that crispy meat burrito.
Yes.
I think.
The skinny ones?
The skinny ones.
Yeah.
The skinny long ones. So Isabella, when my first gig in TV was in Boise, Idaho, my husband, who was dating me at the time, went up there. We went up there together and to Boise, and we saw Taco Time for the first time. And I'm like, what is this? He's like, this got me through college. Was those crispy meat burritos.
Yeah. Well, I'm from a different era, you
delish.
guys. It was the ramen noodles 5 for $1.
Oh.
That's what got me through college. Isabella, thank you.
Good to see
And
you.
we're back in 2 minutes. Springfield, Illinois, everybody. It's the land of Lincoln, and the cool thing about that city is if you love Abraham Lincoln and one of the probably the greatest American president ever, his home is still, they've taken like 6 city blocks and just kind of cleared it out to the old buildings that used to be there when he lived there.
Yes.
And you're going to feel like you're in a time machine when you walk into his house. It's like they just locked the door and walked away like 5 minutes ago. It's the coolest thing.
That's so great.
Highly recommended. By the way, Syleste, what's Sherry Nevada Pup saying?
So this is interesting. As we were talking about Taco Time and Jack in the Box and Taco Bell, she said if you take the hot sauce and you put it on a penny, watch what it does.
What is it?
I don't know.
Oh.
She said it's crazy to see what actually happens. So, Sherry, you're going to have to let us know what happens. I'm guessing maybe it cleans it because there's vinegar and hot sauce.
I'm wondering if it dissolves the penny into a little pile of goo.
Oh, it could be. You never know.
I'm not very scientific, but that's my guess.
Isabella in the chat, she goes, oh, no, I don't want to know because we're consuming, right, whatever it is. But we got some shout outs to Popeyes in here as well and the Jack in the Box chicken sandwich.
Okay. Love it. Also love Cane's. I think if I had to choose a number 2, it would have been the chicken fingers at Cane's. I don't get the whole meal. I don't get the Texas
just the
toast.
Chicken.
I just love to get the chicken. Syleste, there is a guy up in the northwest part of the country that started a little business a long time ago called Microsoft. We're talking about Bill Gates, and he has finally announced what is he going to do with his tens of billions, really hundreds of billions. And he just announced that most of his fortune, which, by the way, is up there a little above $200 billion, he's going to give 99% of it away. And the vast majority is going to go to poorer African nations. And I think he's maybe not quite 70 now, 68, 69, something like that. And he says he's going to do it over the next 20 years. So he's got a plan to live till at least 90. And I just think it's really cool. He's the 1%, I'm sure he's going to leave for his kids. I believe that he and Melinda had 2 children.
Okay.
And so, there'll be plenty, even with 1%.
Plenty to go around.
What's 1% of 200 billion? I believe it's 200 million.
What is 1% of 200 billion, Siri?
Take my word for it. It's 200 million. What does she say?
2 times 10 to the 9th.
Oh, great.
That's
Good.
what she said.
What about the square root? Man, when we start doing math, the show's going downhill. Anyway, good for him. And I think that's actually really interesting. Celeste, the Arizona Cardinals do such a cool thing. Shout out to Michael Bidwill, who I think made this decision, close to about 5 years ago, because this is the 4th year they've been doing it. They take hundreds of Arizona school kids to Washington, D.C. to learn about our nation's capital and how our government works. And our cameras were there this morning when they were all lining up and getting ready for the check-in. They fly on the Cardinals plane. It's that time of year where things are pretty quiet in the football world, and they get a chance to go back there. And it's part of what they call the Civics Matter program. And for the 275 kids that get to go back there, they get to meet members of Congress and, other parts of the government. What a great thing. I just love this.
Well, and I think it's cool that they get to sit in those seats and go, this is how the Cardinals travel. And then they land and they get to, have conversations with lawmakers and get to see that they're just normal people like everybody else. And they also get to see a lot of the monuments. There is nothing like seeing the Vietnam Wall.
Yeah.
There is, I remember I was in college. The first time you see that wall, you are just overtaken by emotion. And you're, wow, these are all names of real people who gave their life for the greater good.
Yeah.
It really is amazing.
So thank you for that, Celeste, because just steps away from there, I just had a couple of tips for people. I just took our grandkids on a trip to D.C. They live back east, so it was a quick trip for them. And I said, hey, guys, if you don't mind, let's get up super early in the morning. Not the easiest thing with grandkids.
Right.
And we went to...
Did you blackmail them? Like, hey, we're going to stop in for donuts.
I'm sure there was a stop somewhere that day. And I think it was to a Chick-fil-A. By the way, just check it out. If you're noticing there's no one else around, here's my hot tip for you if you ever go to D.C. Get up early, convince the kids. That's Mason, and you can barely see Riley. That's Riley in the red hoodie. Aww. And then that's Ava Jane.
Yes, right behind his brother.
Yeah. But that's us and old Abe. And there was, I had to go find somebody to take a picture. Get down there just pre-sunrise, and you will, it's like an emotional experience. Usually when you go, there's 500 tourists climbing all over the Lincoln Memorial.
But to be there first.
If you get there first thing in the morning and you catch the sunrise over the Washington Monument and the reflecting pool, it is super cool. So that's one tip. But
are there ropes behind you? Like, can you walk right up to the...
Oh, right up to where those steps are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then they ask you not to actually climb on the steps.
Don't sit on his lap.
But then the other hot tip I have for you is this. It's 90 minutes to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. People are like, oh, Pennsylvania, that's got to be so far away. They have this thing called the cyclorama, and it is a painting. Look how real that looks, Celeste.
Oh, my goodness.
It looks like you're looking at the battlefield from July the 3rd, 1863.
Wow.
It's a 90-minute drive from right in the heart of D.C. Took the grandkids up there. And they have this painting that's as long as a football field, and it wraps around you in a circle.
Wow.
And you literally feel like you were there.
That's amazing.
It's the coolest thing. So a couple of tips for you if you ever find yourself traveling back to Washington, D.C. Celeste, I feel like we're having a great show.
We are.
Streaming show, FTT.
Absolutely.
But do you guys, you and Gare, do you ever go like off-roading?
Gare Bear.
Yeah.
We used to do some dirt bike riding.
Oh, where'd you go?
North Phoenix.
Okay.
I had a
like
little
Bell Roadish.
I had a little YZ80. No, I'm not that old, Ron. No, we actually had to. We drove farther north of New River. And so, they have a lot of trails up there. So we did that. We've done off-roading. He used to have a truck, like a big Dodge. We did like something like that. And then when we go on vacation, we like to do like excursions. So we'll get like in one of those little dune buggy things and do like, through the mud and stuff like that.
Well, I just have to share this video with everybody, Celeste, and here's why I'm asking. There is a situation where a guy in a Jeep has had to be rescued for the 4th time.
Oh, my goodness.
He goes off-roading on this trail up there by the BHC, Bullhead City.
Okay.
It's called the Narrows, and I think you maybe can see why right here. The problem is he had no food or water with him. Search and rescue crews said that he and his passenger, don't know if it was a buddy or a lady, but they both walked off into the desert in opposite directions. They finally found him, but they remind you, bring 2 vehicles if you get stuck. If you're off-roading, bring 2 vehicles and always have water and food with you.
So they went their separate ways after they got stuck?
4th time this poor guy's getting stuck. I don't know if I should say poor guy. Probably should not go for a while.
Yeah, the sheriff's deputies, he's putting their lives in danger.
Yep.
Sammy G says in the chat box, his fine should go up every time.
Oh, that's a great
idea.
idea.
That is a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, they had some great comments on what Bill Gates should do with the money.
Really, which is?
Help American families.
Okay.
1.
Yes.
And 2, maybe help kids pay for their more field trips to D.C.
Yeah.
Or more trips to Niagara Falls or, Yellowstone or something.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. He's got enough billions. He could take $1 billion away from his other plan and put that into this program, and it would go.
We have a lot of smart people
great.
in the chat.
Hey, so Celeste, they're on the show today. You have a doctor who comes to you and says, Celeste, Here's what I want all parents of newborns or even grandparents of newborns, how to talk to their kids.
Right. So the jumping off for this story was that there was a mom on TikTok who went viral because she said, I don't talk to my baby.
Okay.
And my baby's 11 months old. Okay. Don't
no baby talk.
No baby talk. Not like
no
Goo Goo
adult
Gaga.
talk.
No adult talk.
Nothing.
No speaking. And so she got blasted on social media, and people said, "What are you doing? What?" So it got us talking. How many words should we be saying to our babies? And how many words should they know? So you brought a doctor on. He said, by the time they're 2, your baby, you should always talk to them and have big conversations with big words.
Okay.
Ever since from their newborn all the way through life, obviously.
Okay.
But by the time they're 2, they should know 50 words.
And big words.
Big words.
Like anti-disestablishmentarianism?
Like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Wow.
Spoonful of sugar.
At age 2, 50 words.
At age 3, the child should know 1,000 words. 1,000 words.
That seems impossible.
So it's like, how do you get your kid, how do you talk to them as that much? And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's reading books.
Yes,
maybe you're reading different books. They're hearing the different types of words and things like that. But anyways, it was a crazy story, but we got a little clarification from that doc.
Hey, we got 2 minutes left. Anita, do you want to come join right now? Ladies and gentlemen.
Come on over, Anita.
I just have to show you what's on Anita's phone. There was a survey that came out about the percentage of people that hit snooze.
Yes.
And the number, believe it or not, is around 60% who hit snooze at least once.
Who wants to get up in the morning? Well, I mean, it's a blessing to get up in the morning, but who doesn't want to stay in bed in the morning?
Right? What is let's show your phone here. Here, slide it right over here, because then it's, okay, twist it.
A little bit more.
Okay, there you go. Can you see that? Every 10, what time is your first snooze?
12:51.
12:51 in the morning.
1:20, 1:30, 1:40, 2 a.m.
Oh, okay.
And then I have an 8-minute snooze in between. So if I hit snooze, the one at 1:20, the 1:30 still goes off.
So mine's at 2, 2:14, 2:35, 2:40, 2:45, 3 o'clock, 3:05, 3:10, 3:15, 3:30, 3:45, 4 o'clock, 4:15, 4:30. How much time do we have left in this show?
How many of those do you turn on?
I turn on at least 9.
But it also depends on what time you're working, right? Because if you're coming in for the 4:30 shift, you have to get up at this time. If you're working at the 6 a.m. shift, you have to come in at this time. So that's why you just have all these alarms just saved. So
I have at 3:05 KNIX on my alarm clock radio, 102.5. It goes off at 3:05 and I'm up at 3:05.
You don't hit snooze?
I never hit snooze.
Wow.
I want the max amount of sleep time.
That's actually pretty good, though.
I have a hard
and I bet you have better deep sleep than most people.
I mean, no brainwave activity whatsoever.
Until about like 5:10 a.m.
Anita, that's so true. About 15 seconds left. What's coming up?
DPS is here to talk about that big wrong way crash we had this morning. We're talking about the Apache Junction police officer who was shot, and then my favorite author in the whole wide world.
Oh, yes, Alison Brennan.
She's local.
Superstar.
the rundown. I'm glad it's written on the rundown.
Good morning. This has been a very, very, very busy news morning. We've got a lot of breaking headlines coming out. So that's why we have Sergeant Eric Andrews with us this morning, because unfortunately, there was a wrong-way crash that happened on the I-17 in the southbound lanes right there near 7th Ave. Can you just kind of go over, kind of just give us a brief recap if you could? We also have some video from the scene from earlier this morning. If you could just kind of walk us through what happened this morning.
Yeah, so at about 3:20 this morning, our Operational Communications Center started getting calls from the public saying that there was a vehicle, a white sedan, traveling northbound in the southbound lanes of I-17 around the area of 16th Street, 7th Street on I-17 there. A very short amount of time later, we started getting calls that the vehicle had actually collided with a pickup truck. Troopers got on scene along with the fire department, and we confirmed that the driver of the wrong-way vehicle, who is an 18-year-old female, was deceased there on scene. The driver of the pickup truck that was going the right way was transported to an area hospital with some major injuries.
Pretty critical injuries. It's a very, very tough scene to look at. It's tough to report on, and I cannot even imagine how tough it is for you, for other troopers, to actually have to go out there and investigate and try to figure out what's going on. Walk us through, when you arrived on scene, what you saw, what was happening.
The good thing is that we're trained well. And when I got on scene, obviously a little later than everybody else, everybody's doing their job. When you're the first person on scene to something like this, it is mass chaos. There are people trying to help other people. You've got your partners coming there, but it can be chaos. But we all fall back to our training. We know what we need to do and what needs to get done, and we just start doing what we need to do, getting other responding troopers to let them know, hey, I need this when you get here, I need this when you get here. We're getting all the other resources out there. So to everybody else, it looks like chaos, and at very first it's chaos, but it really goes smoothly after that.
Sergeant, we have Sherry Nevada Pup chiming in, and she says, this is my worst nightmare. I hate driving. Little philosophy bringing up what we're going to ask you as well. Third one this week already. This is my worst nightmare as well. I imagine Ty's and yours. We're on the highway.
And we cover this. It seems like it happens quite often.
We see
them.
Yeah. We see them, but we're driving to work at 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, when most of these happen. And in this case, that driver is where?
So initially the reports were that she was on the right-hand shoulder, but the collision actually occurred between the fast lane and the middle lane, the 1 and 2 lanes. So they are usually in those far left lanes, and whether the HOV, the left shoulder, or that number 1 fast lane, that's where they usually occur.
Can you just kind of give us kind of behind the scenes? What kind of happens now as far as the investigation into figuring out how this driver, this 18-year-old girl, woman, ended up going the wrong way? What do you guys do to kind of figure out, kind of fill in the blanks?
So we have a lot of resources, and technology is a huge asset to us nowadays that law enforcement didn't have just years ago. So we'll dive into the computer systems in the vehicles. We can see on certain models of vehicles GPS locations. We'll talk to the family of this deceased driver to figure out, okay, what happened? What do you know is going on? 18 years old. I'm guessing she might have lived at home. I don't know. But we'll talk to her family and friends. We'll also be able to look at potentially cell phone information to see, okay, where were they coming from, and we can get information for that. For this specific scenario, since there's no criminal charges, since unfortunately the suspect did die, it doesn't go quite to that level every time. We're still extremely thorough in the investigation, but since there's no charges, that kind of dials it back a little bit as far as how far, because we're not going to get a search warrant necessarily for certain things.
Darren Lloyd posted a comment saying, I don't understand all these wrong way crashes. I think we need better driving training and more driver education. Can we attribute any of these wrong way crashes to that? I know there are a lot of signs out there that say wrong way.
So education is huge, but the biggest thing, this is not going to stop, and we say this all the time, this will not stop until people take responsibility for driving under the influence. I do not know that this driver was under the influence in this collision, but the majority of these collisions are. We also see instances of elderly individuals who are just confused, but again, the majority is driving under the influence, and until people take responsibility for that and don't make that decision to do that, this is never going to stop.
Okay. You brought some stats with you. Can you kind of go over some of these, because they are kind of, I guess, startling?
Yeah, so we've heard a lot about, we've had so many of these recently. So I can break down just last month, May of 2025, we had 110 wrong way incidents. Now, that is not collisions.
Wow.
That is reports of a wrong way vehicle.
Someone calling into 911.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we may not even we probably did not have contact with the majority of these because we will always respond.
What?
Everybody responds to those areas. But we don't always see them.
Sure.
We don't. Sometimes they self-correct. They get off the highway, whatever it is.
110 in May alone.
In May alone,
and that's on the various different freeways in
correct.
the valley.
That is
in
all
the
the
valley.
state. That is all state highways throughout the entire state.
Oh my gosh,
state.
that's
Okay.
terrifying.
Yeah. So year to date for 2025, we've had 575. The same time span last year was 716. So that's down a pretty
That's
decent
good.
amount. So
Yeah.
that's good. But all of 2024, we had 1,740 incidents. And again, that's just reported incidents. That's not just collisions, not just people that we've stopped. But this year in May, we had only one collision total, no fatalities. So that's a very low number. So that's good. But last year we had 59 total collisions. Of those 59, 10 of them were fatal, resulting in 14 fatalities total.
3 this week alone? The one today is this
So
number
I don't
4?
have those numbers for just
Okay.
this week because we haven't finished the week out. But I just know from last month and beyond that.
Wow. We're getting so many comments. A lot of people very scared, to see that wrong way driver, to see those headlights coming at them. People are asking, do they think they're in the HOV lane? And that's the number one thing. I know, Ty, you and I have talked about it. When we're out on scene, the first thing you guys told us is stay out of that HOV lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of times they'll think they're in their own HOV lane, whatever it is, they think they're going the right direction. They don't really realize what they're doing. So I don't necessarily say don't go in the HOV lane. I say just be very cognizant, especially when it's that 11 o'clock at night and beyond until 5 in the morning. You need to be conscious. Obviously, don't be on your cell phone. We preach that every day. Do not go on your cell phone. Be cognizant of where you are and what's ahead of you, but especially at those later hours, be looking further ahead. Be paying attention to the ADOT signs. Our partners at ADOT are fantastic about getting those signs up.
They sure are.
If there is a wrong way driver approaching potentially, move over. And if you aren't comfortable staying in those faster lanes, feel free to stay in those slower lanes.
Can you talk a little bit really quickly? We're going to let you go, but that partnership that you have, that really does help save lives when we're able to get those messages out and you guys are alerted.
Yeah, ADOT has thermal cameras. They have sensor systems throughout the highways, especially in Phoenix, that trigger automatically. So they let us know. We have troopers and civilian personnel there with ADOT in the Traffic Operations Center that notify us as soon as that happens. So we have a very close working relationship with them.
All right. Sergeant, we do appreciate your time this morning. We thank you. This is your second time in 2 weeks
know.
now?
Wow.
And I think we're going to make you kind of a regular around here if you don't mind. So we'll see.
Thank you very
Sergeant
much. We
Andrews
appreciate it.
again
Other big
soon.
story that we're talking about also involves law enforcement. We're going to head out to Apache Junction. There was a police officer who was shot. There's no such thing, I've learned, and correct me if I'm wrong, but no such thing as a routine traffic stop. This was a traffic stop, happened in Apache Junction. Lauren's joining us to break down what we know.
Yeah, because you've been covering this for the past couple of days, because this all happened on Monday, right?
It did. Monday around 9:30 in the morning. And according to police, this all started with a road rage incident. Some guy was waving the gun around. We now have the name of that suspect. His name is Roger, and he's a 37-year-old man. And again, this was a road rage incident. Someone calls 911, reports it, and they find Roger, and he's driving in that white Tesla, and he pulls over where the stop occurred. It's right next to this brand new development center. Now, if you've ever been familiar with the Far East Valley, AJ doesn't really have a lot of homes that are brand new. This is brand new. They are still building multiple houses out there. So he gets pulled over right next to that entrance there. Police tell him to get out. He has a gun still with him, and according to police, he's not listening at all. And he's not obeying any type of instructions that they're giving him, and they walk and follow him for nearly a mile into the community.
Okay, because I was wondering
there.
if it was in the car or if they were actually on foot, but he was on foot then.
He was,
Okay.
yeah. He gets out of the car, and they're like, hey, wait, where are you going? Like, please stop. They follow him for nearly a mile, and according to Chief Pooley, who was there, he was yelling some things about wanting officers to shoot him, which is, this unfortunate, perhaps this is a attempted suicide by cop situation. Police are trying to, tell him to listen. They use non-lethal rubber bullets, and that's when, according to police, he shot at officers. Officer Fazio got shot in the face. And then from there, they shot back at that suspect. And then he was in the hospital. He was undergoing surgery. And we all know Officer Facio is in critical condition right now, fighting for his life.
What do we know about his condition right now?
Yeah. So the only thing we can really make out is the word choice that Chief Pooley was using. You know, when you are calling on the community to pray for your officer, when you are using terms that he is fighting for his life, that he is in critical condition. I mean, this is a very serious shot. When you get shot in your face, this is really serious. And luckily, he's undergoing hospital care right now as we speak. But they are really calling on the community to send their well wishes and prayers for him and his family.
And Lauren, he was with AJ Police Department for 3 years, but before that, he was actually a Phoenix police officer.
He
correct?
was, and he went to Phoenix Police Academy. So he has some roots here in Phoenix PD, and then he went into the Apache Junction Police Department.
Because one of the stories we were doing this morning is that if folks that work with Phoenix PD had worked with Officer Facio, they were saying if you needed time off or just kind of time to maybe be with your friend's family or actually go visit the other officers that are kind of, I guess, outside of the hospital, they would be able to accommodate that. So I guess that just kind of leads to how grave and serious these injuries are.
Tell us about the blue ribbons, because we've got a couple minutes left, but this is how the community can really, I guess, help and participate and show support.
Yes. And, you know, there's this wonderful group that does the blue ribbons every time that an officer is injured and in the hospital, and they put them up. And it's just really a way, you know, to show officers, and especially Officer Facio's family. I mean, this is a family man. He is married with 2 kids. Wow. So that really kind of touches at your heart as well. Just really kind of shows them that you are thinking and supporting of them. There's also another way you can do so. Apache Junction Police Department, and we actually have a link to this on our website as well, fox10phoenix.com. They have a link where you can send over some messages and well wishes to the family.
Okay. What are you working on today, Lauren?
Yeah, so we're going to
continue with this?
Yeah, we're going to try to see if the folks with the Blue Ribbon group will be willing to speak, and then we're just going to try to get some updates to Officer Facio's condition. We know so many people in this community really care about this, and they want to know, you know, how they can support, just want the up-to-date information on this. So that's what we'll be working to do today.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of comments and a lot of prayers for the officer and his family. So hopefully those will be felt.
And Lauren, we'll look out for your reports today, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. You're going to be out here all day long. We appreciate you taking time this morning, Lauren, before you head out to talk to us. We are going to take a quick break, and on a much lighter note, we have a very cool guest coming in. One of your friends and authors, Alison Brennan, joining us next in 2 minutes, so stay with us.
found Ty's long lost relative.
Yes, we were just talking about this. I was like, Allison, we have to be related some way or another, being a long lost Brennan somewhere.
Yeah, Brennan is a very common name.
Yeah.
You know, like Smith in
I know,
Ireland.
Yeah. But it's so nice to meet you finally, because Anita has really talked you up, and she reads your books.
I love your books. We did a piece together. I don't even remember how long it's been.
Nearly a year.
Oh, was it a year?
Nearly a year,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'll tell you, we do a lot of silent witness stuff, and I said to Sergeant Brian Bauer with Phoenix PD, I think I was a police officer in a former life. I love to read these thrillers and try to figure out who done it. And he said, you have to read Alison Brennan. So I immediately went home and I downloaded on my Kindle The Third to Die, which is, I think it's my first love of your books, because it was the first one I read. And I have been on a, I guess, upward spiral since then, because it's not downward. But I can't even get into your head and figure out how you come up with these stories.
That was going to be my question too. Like, how did this start? How did you become an author?
Well, long story short, I had my third child. I have 5 now. But after my third was born, I didn't want to go back to work. And it's like, I need to find something I can do. And I'd always wanted to be a writer. So I did have to go back to work, but I started writing every night. I gave up TV and wrote after the kids went to bed, every night from 9 to midnight, until I wrote 5 books and then sold the 5th book. And then I quit my job.
Wow. Good for you. And hold on, can we just go over here? I was looking at your bio here. New York Times bestseller. How many books do you have on the New York Times bestselling list now?
I think, well, I have 49 books. This is book 49.
49.
About 30 have hit the list.
Isn't that insane?
What is that like when you get that call to know that you are a New York Times bestselling author?
Well, the first time I hit was my 4th book, and I actually said we're going to go to Disneyland because
everyone's celebrating.
It was 2007, and my youngest at the time was 3, and so I said, okay, we're going. And it was like, we spent way too much money because we stayed at the Disneyland Hotel. But if you only hit the New York Times list the first time once, right? It's like, you win the Super Bowl, it's New York Times list. So so that's actually what I did the very first time.
Well, congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment. Now, were you kind of like into writing maybe like in high school or in college? Were you a writer then, or like did you take creative writing courses? We're having a little surprise behind the scenes here. We made this a family affair for you, Allison. You can't see, but we've got some members from Allison's family joining us.
They're coming on.
Oh, here they are.
Grandma. Come on in, you guys. Okay.
So introduce, who do we got here, Allison?
This is my oldest daughter, Katie,
Hi,
or
Katie.
Kathleen. I don't know what she wants to go by. And then my grandson, Colton.
Hi, Colton. You got a little smile.
Is he cute?
Yes, he is my cutie. I get to babysit him once a week.
Yeah.
It's the one day I take off from writing. I
There you
write
go.
I write 6 days, and I watch him one day.
How many hours do you write?
Probably anywhere between 6 and 14, depending on what my deadlines.
Does it just pour out, or do you have to like think?
Because I would need like an outline, and I would get bullet points, and then I would add, like I was saying to you, I'm like, how did you even think to write about the woman's jewelry glistening in the sun? I would be concerned about like the plot. You have all these details.
Well, I kind of see things as I'm writing them, and also there's editing. So if I feel like I need to add things, I'll go ahead and, during the editing process, I need to add a little description here. I actually wrote one book of mine where my editor said, do you realize you didn't describe your main character once? I have no idea what she looks like. And I said, I didn't notice that. So, that's what editing is for.
Yeah.
And I asked Allison that when I did the interview with her initially the first time. You can run around, buddy. Go for it.
Can you see yourself on camera?
Go for it. You want to say hi to Grandma? You want to come say hi, Grandma? Give Grandma a hug now. He's like, I want to see the TV.
I want to look at myself.
I said, there's a series that you have, which is the first one that I ever read, Costa and Quinn.
Quinn and Costa, yeah.
Quinn and Costa. And I said to you, what do they look like? Because I know how I picture them in my head. And I'm like, how do you picture them, though?
Yeah, well, Matt Costa is Cuban. So,
He's
you
hot.
just he is.
He's a hot cop.
He is. He is a hot cop, hot Cuban cop, and from Miami. It's like I don't even have to describe him. All you have to say he's Cuban from Miami, and anybody can picture him. And then Kara Quinn is blonde, blue-eyed. Actually, very similar.
Oh,
There you go.
She's a detective.
And she's a detective with LAPD.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they fall in love.
Don't give. Okay.
It's
spoiler alert. But
it takes them a while.
Yeah. I'm not giving anything away. Oh, buddy. Oh,
he can come back.
He can come back. Oh no.
He can sit with me.
Yeah. He can come sit with Grandma.
This is informal.
This isn't. Yeah, we're all a big happy family over here.
Oh, here we come on over. Come on over, buddy.
Come say hi, Grandma. You want to sit with Grandma?
Come on.
He's like, oh, look at that sly little smile.
He's a little sneaky.
Do your kids? You have 5 kids. Do
Yes.
they read your books? Or your husband?
No, my husband does. My husband does, and my mom does. And my number 4 daughter read beach reads because that's more her genre. And Katie read my first Angel Heart book, the one that you interviewed me on, because that was
that's based locally.
Local book, yeah.
That's based in Phoenix, also excellent. But you say your husband, your kids, and your mom. Now this isn't just a thriller. There's some steamy scenes in these books.
Yeah, Mary, my daughter, she's 22, but she says she skipped that part.
They're really good books, you guys.
Now, do you? I mean, I'm still just the process of writing a book to me just blows my mind. And I've asked this of like actors, like before their TV show comes out, do you get nervous? Like when you've written so many, but like when you put that out to the world, you obviously open yourself up to criticism. I mean, I go on Goodreads all the time to look at reviews. Like, do you ever go look at your reviews, or like, what is that like when you kind of quote unquote give birth to something and put out into the world?
Well, yes, I do read my reviews, and I really shouldn't, but I do. And it's funny because I get a lot of positive reviews, but it's going to be that one negative that just sticks with you.
Yeah.
And so that's why they say, "Oh, just don't read your reviews." But I can't help it because I have to know what's out there.
Yeah.
If it's being written about me, I need to know about it.
And plus, you want to, I guess, please the readers, and you want to know that if they like this, we're going to give them more of this.
Well, I don't really change anything I do based on my reviews, although there's one consistent thing that sometimes readers will say, and I'm now very cognizant of it, which is I have a large cast of characters. So I do, when I'm writing, I'm saying, do I really need this character? And I'm actually asking
myself, yes, you do need Ty Brennan in your next book.
Husky Mom is asking, do you do background research for your books, kind of like what we see on various TV shows?
That's a good question.
That's a great question.
I love research. I have done the FBI Citizens Academy. I've toured the morgue. I've witnessed an autopsy. I've gone to Quantico.
Wow.
I've gone on ride-alongs. I've gone to the gun range. I try to do, in fact, I won an award. I won from the FBI my characters shoot better than I do award.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But I feel doing research is important. So I had now one of my early books, a nurse emailed me and she said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said this Valium. No one would act like this on Valium," and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like going, whoops. So now I have...
So you took some Valium? No, I'm just kidding.
Let me see how this really affects me.
No, what I did is now I have 2 nurses, my sister-in-law and a cousin, who if I am in doubt, I just immediately go. And then I realized that sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so if I'm at all in doubt, I'll put a word out there.
You have I think a list of people other than your nurses that you can reach out to and say, "Hey, is this true? Is this how it works?"
Yes, I have a doctor friend of mine. I have nurses. I have cops. I have my daughter. And
your daughter, we can say Phoenix police officer.
Yeah, well, I've said that publicly too. So.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat to be able to have that resource. And I'm waiting for a book about her.
Well, if
she's hiding. I
don't know.
No, Mom.
I don't know, maybe. But she did help me a lot with the local one because I had set it mostly in Sunny Slope. But the main character is a private investigator.
And that all started, you guys went to court.
Yeah.
And you talked to the judge.
And I talked to the judge, and it just clicked for me. There was a judge that he was retired, and he came in to clear all the COVID cases. And I was talking to him about his family, and he said, "Oh, yeah, my parents got married at the cathedral or the basilica right downtown, and they did this, and they've been here for like 120 years before Phoenix, before Arizona was a state and all this other stuff." I said, "I want to write about a family like that." So the patriarch is a retired judge, and his grandchildren are all in various things. One's a former cop and one's a private investigator, and they work together. So
sometimes I can think of like the opening paragraph of a book that I'd like to write, and then that's as
about
far
it.
as I can get. And I'm like, I should get up and write this down, and it's like, it's not going to go anywhere though. I would love to write a book. That's a dream of mine.
Well, start writing.
Yeah, you have to sit down and
You
write.
have to have something to write about.
Well, that was my next question. Like, what do you do? Like, do you have to get in like a right headspace when you go to write? Like, do you have like a favorite corner of your house that you kind of like, this is your writing spot? Or
Well, I have a writing spot now, but honestly, when my kids were younger, I wrote wherever they were. So my youngest daughter played competitive softball, so I wrote like whole chapters sitting in the stands.
Wow.
And my
Old school on a notebook, or did you
on
take
my
a laptop?
I'm not old school.
with a quill.
I would be happy like just taking notes everywhere that I go and writing things down.
No, I know. I have my laptop, have laptop, can write. I used to write on planes and anywhere because I get paid to write.
Yeah.
And it's my job.
Yeah.
And I have to treat it as a job. So I don't have the luxury of saying, oh, the muse isn't with me today. Because if I don't turn in my book, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
So authors usually get paid when they sign the contract. You get a little bit of money. Yay. And then when you turn in the book, you get a little bit of more money. Yay.
Do you ever get writer's block?
I can't afford to.
I like that. We have a couple people saying that Linda says congratulations.
Thank you, Linda.
On your success. How do you deal with writer's block? Isabella, I just asked that. Thank you. We had someone else said I've always wanted to write a book. And Darren Lloyd says, write one. Just do it.
Yeah, do it, Anita.
You basically have to sit down and write. I mean, that's really the only thing you can do. You can't say, oh, I'm going to do it later. You have to make time to write if it's important to you. And that's what I've always said. If it's important, write. If you like to cook, you cook, right? If you like to garden, you go out and garden. If you want to write, you have to sit down.
Would you say you have a huge imagination then? Because I feel like that you have to. Because to write that many books and not have them be the same or repeat storylines, I mean, that's got to be...
Oh, yeah. I think I have a huge imagination. And I'm a huge reader, too. I've always read. One of the first books I ever read that really got me interested in crime fiction was In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. I read it when I was 14, and it was like that kind of started my path down crime fiction.
Is it easy to get a publisher?
I wouldn't say it's easy. I would definitely get an agent if you want to go traditional publishing, because they really understand the world of publishing, especially now. It can be kind of competitive.
Less than about 30 seconds. This is the new book. When is it out?
June 17th.
Okay.
June 17th.
You guys will really. I'm
and you're
halfway
going to have
through.
a signed copies available, right?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you.
Signed copies of all my books are always available through the Poison Pen, which is a local mystery bookstore in Scottsdale. So I always go in before every release to sign.
Very cool. Well, Allison, thank you so much for coming in.
That was fun.
Much continued success. This is so cool. I can't wait to read